All right, let's dive into something that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but is getting closer to reality every single day. The big question, could an AI actually run for public office? And maybe even crazier, could it win?
Seriously, just try to picture it. You've got a debate stage. On one side, a human candidate trying to connect with our emotions, our hopes, our fears. And on the other side, a perfectly calm, data driven AI that has a flawless, fact checked answer for everything. Sounds wild, right? But believe it or not, this idea is picking up steam for one very real reason.
And that reason is this. For decades, public trust in human politicians and our institutions has been on a nosedive. As our faith in the current system keeps dropping, people are starting to ask, isn't there a better way? A way that isn't tangled up in all the messy human flaws. And that growing frustration, well, that's the perfect soil for the idea of an AI politician to start growing.
So when we say an AI candidate, what are we even talking about? Look, this isn't just some tech fantasy. It digs into huge questions, philosophical and legal, about what it even means to be governed and represented. But before we get into all the potential dangers, let's start with the optimistic view. Let's look at the promise of a perfect politician.
Okay, so let's explore the utopian vision for a second. The whole argument for an AI in office really boils down to this one powerful idea. What if we could have a leader without any of our normal human failings? The people who believe in this imagine a government that could, at least in theory, be perfect.
And this is where you really see the heart of that argument. It's such a stark contrast, isn't it? On one side, you have the human leader who's always going to be vulnerable to biases, to corruption, to just having a bad day. But on the other side, you have the AI leader, designed to be the exact opposite, totally impartial, completely incorruptible, and 100% stable. The dream here is what you might call algorithmic governance. Just think about it. A world with zero backroom deals because the leader literally can't be bribed. A system where laws aren't shaped by prejudice or a president's bad mood, but are based on pure, unadulterated data to get the best outcome for the most people. It's this vision of ultimate, logical fairness. Okay, so that's the dream. But, for every utopia, there's a dystopia lurking right around the corner. So now we've got to flip the coin. We have to face the very real, very deep fears of an AI ruler and the huge dangers of handing control over to an algorithm. And that fear can be summed up with this chilling phrase: a weaponized policy machine with no accountability. I mean, really think about that. When a system that's built for nothing but pure efficiency makes a catastrophic mistake, who do you blame? You can't impeach an AI, you can't vote it out, it feels zero remorse. It can become this unstoppable force with nobody and nothing to answer to.
You know, an AI is only as smart as the data we feed it. So what happens if we accidentally code our own worst biases right into its programming? It would then enforce those biases on a massive scale we can't even comprehend. And maybe the scariest part, it would have zero empathy. It can't understand the human suffering behind a decision that, on paper, looks optimal. Without any real ethical guardrails, a data-driven leader could become a data-driven tyrant, like overnight. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This is all fascinating, but it's a problem for, the distant future. But it's not. The reality is AI is already pulling the levers of power, right now, mostly behind the scenes. It's already deeply embedded in our political world. And this didn't happen overnight. It's been a slow creep. It started off simple enough with algorithms just predicting how we might vote to help campaigns target their ads, but it has gone way, way beyond that. Now we have AI that can simulate the entire economic impact of a new law before it's even passed. And yeah, in some places, we're even seeing the start of citizen scoring systems, where an algorithm actually rates people based on their behavior. And these aren't just theories. These tools are being used every day. Prediction algorithms, standard practice for finding swing voters. Policy simulators, governments use them all the time to model things like tax changes. And these digital democracy tools are constantly scraping social media to see how we're all feeling. And here's the most important part. These tools aren't just advising humans anymore. They're actively shaping the decisions that get made. So, all of this brings us right back to the central conflict, the one massive philosophical question at the heart of this whole thing. When we build systems of power, what's their ultimate goal? Is it to serve us, people, in all our messy, emotional, complicated glory? Or is it to serve the cold, hard logic of the data? And that right there is the fundamental trade-off. A government that serves the people has to prioritize things like empathy, fairness, and justice. even when those things are inefficient and complicated. On the other hand, a government that serves the data is going to prioritize efficiency, logic, and optimization above all else. An AI leader would, by its very nature, serve the data. So the question we have to ask ourselves is that a world we actually want to live in?
And that leads us to the final and most important question. Look, the technology is moving at lightning speed. An AI leader is becoming more possible every day. But the real challenge here was never going to be technical. It's ethical. Because if we're really going to build our future leaders, the most important job we have is to decide right now what human values we want to program into their very core. What parts of our humanity are non-negotiable? That's the real question, isn't it?